Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, and I'm back with another video for you guys. We are going to continue on with the Junior Penetration Tester Learning Path in TryHackMe. This is the Burp Suite area, and we are covering the Burp Suite Intruder room. Learn how to use Intruder to automate requests in Burp Suite. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. Task 1, Introduction. Welcome to the Burp Suite Intruder Room. In this room, we will explore Burp Suite's Intruder module, which offers automated request manipulation and enables tasks such as fuzzing and brute forcing. If you are not familiar with Burp Suite's proxy and repeater functionality, it is recommended to complete at least the Burp Basics room before proceeding, or you can just watch my videos and catch up on everything. Burp Suite's Intruder module is a powerful tool that allows for automated and customizable attacks. It provides the ability to modify specific parts of a request and perform repetitive tests with variations of input data. Intruder is particularly useful for tasks like fuzzing and brute forcing, where different values need to be tested against a target. Deploy the machine, which is already done. Start the attack box, we've already done. So I'm going to go ahead and click complete here, and we're going to go to task number 2. What is Intruder? Intruder is Burp Suite's built-in fuzzing tool that allows for automated request modification and repetitive testing and variations in input values. By using a captured request, often from the proxy module, Intruder can send multiple requests with slightly altered values based on user-defined configurations. It serves various purposes, such as brute forcing logins forms by substituting username and password fields with values from a word list, or performing fuzzing attacks using word lists to test subdirectories, endpoints, or virtual hosts. Intruder's functionality is comparable to command line tools like wfuzz or ffuff. However, it is important to note that while Intruder can be used with Burp's Community Edition, it is rate limited, significantly reducing its speed compared to Burp Professional. This limitation often leads security practitioners to rely on other tools for fuzzing and brute forcing. Nonetheless, Intruder remains a valuable tool and is worth learning how to use it effectively. And that's correct. It'll start off very quickly for like the first like 30 seconds or something, and then it will get just straight up throttled. Let's explore the Intruder interface. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and flip over to Intruder. Actually, let's go ahead and just capture a request real quick. Make sure this is turned on and flipped over to Burp. So I'm gonna hit refresh here to capture this, and then you can right click and you can go to send to Intruder. You can use the Control plus I option or shortcut there. So let me X out of this and we'll click over to Intruder. There we go. All right, so already in Intruder here, so there are 4 subtabs within Intruder. Positions, this tab allows you to select an attack type, which we will cover in a future task, and configure where we want to insert our payloads and request template. All right, so I'm just going to skim over these. Be sure to pause the video and read them thoroughly, or just go to the room. Payloads. Here we can select values to insert into positions defined in the Positions tab. We have various payload options, such as loading items from a word list. The way these payloads are inserted into the template depends on the attack chosen in the Positions tab and the resource pool. This tab is not particularly useful in the Burp Community Edition. It allows for resource allocation among various automated tasks in the Burp Professional settings. This tab allows us to configure attack behavior. It primarily deals with how Burp handles results in attack itself. For instance, we can flag requests containing a specific text or define Burp's response to redirect 3xx responses. Note, the term fuzzing refers to the process of testing functionality or existence by applying a set of data to a parameter. For example, fuzzing for endpoints in a web application involves taking each word in a word list and appending it to a request URL. And here's an example of what it looks like here. Word goes here. To observe the server's response. All right, question time. In which Intruder tab can we find the attack type for our planned attack? It looks like positions is what we're looking for here. As it says up here, this tab allows us to select an attack type. And if we look at the actual Intruder in the positions tab, we can see that here, choose an attack type. So there you go. And then you can mess around and navigate your way through here. Payloads, check out some of the payload stuff in here. Just a brief look at it. Resource pool, and then settings. All kinds of stuff you can do in here. Let's go ahead and continue to task number 3. We're going to talk about positions. And when using Burp Suite Intruder to perform an attack, the first step is to examine the positions within the request where we want to insert our payloads. These positions inform Intruder about the locations where our payloads will be introduced, as we will explore in upcoming tasks. Let's navigate to the Positions tab. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're in Intruder, and we're going to go to the Positions tab. Notice that Burp Suite automatically attempts to identify the most probable positions where payloads can be inserted. These positions are highlighted in green and enclosed by section marks, which are these weird-looking symbols here. On the right-hand side of the interface, we will find the following buttons: Add and Clear, Auto. The Add button allows us to define new positions manually by highlighting them within the requester or request editor and then clicking the bottom. This is probably the most frequent one that you will use inside of here. Adding them manually. The clear clears them out. Auto automatically attempts to identify the most likely positions based on the request. This feature is helpful if we previously cleared the default positions and want them back. Alright, so let's go ahead and just flip over here real quick, and we'll just disable this. Alright, now there should be some kind of login form in here. Let's see here. Maybe we'll probably get to it later on. I was trying to see if I could show you guys what that actually looks like, setting those particular um, positions inside of here. But we'll probably just get to it. Let's just go ahead and continue here. And here's the GIF that shows what the process looks like. All right, auto. They click on auto here, and then it identified some possible positions for username and password combinations. Take some time to familiarize yourself with adding, clearing, and auto-selecting positions using the Burp Intruder interface. What symbol defines the start and end of a payload position? And that's going to be this weird-looking one here. So I'm just going to copy and paste. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on to task number 4 here. And we're going to talk about payloads. In the Payloads tab of Burp Suite Intruder, we can create, assign, and configure payloads for our attack. This subtab is divided into 4 sections. So let's hop back over to Burp to check it out. All right, and then want to go to the Payloads tab, and here we are. So let's take a look at each section here. 1. Payload sets. This section allows us to choose the position for which we want to configure a payload set and select the type of payload we want to use when using attack types that allow only a single payload set, sniper or battering ram. The payload set dropdown will have only one option regardless of the number of defined positions. If we use attack types that require multiple payloads, sets Pitchfork or Cluster Bomb, there will be one more item in the dropdown for each position. And you guys can see the rest here. I'm just going to skim over a lot of this information. So you got payload sets, and then it's going to talk about payload settings. This section provides options specific to selected payload type for the current payload set. For example, when using the simple list payload type, we can manually add or remove payloads to from the set by using the add text box, paste lines, or load payloads from a file. The remove button removes the current selected line, and the clear button clears the entire list. Be cautious with loading huge lists, as it may cause Burp to crash. And number 3 is payload processing. In this section, we can define rules to be applied to each payload in the set before it is sent to the target. For example, we can capitalize every word, skip payloads that match a regex pattern, or apply other transformations or filtering. 4 is going to be the payload encoding down here. The section allows us to customize the encoding options for our payloads. By default, Burp Suite applies URL encoding to ensure the safe transmission of payloads. However, there may be cases where we want to adjust the encoding behavior. All right, by leveraging these sections, we can create and customize payload sets to suit the specific requirements for our attacks. This level of control allows us to finely tune our payloads for effective testing and exploitation. Which payload processing rule could we use to add characters at the end of each payload in the set? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here and try to figure out what this could be. Select the rule type. And that should be a add suffix. You want to add it to the end, right? So let's go ahead and type that in. Add suffix. There we go. All right, task number 5. We're going to talk about introduction to attack types. The Positions tab of Burp Suite Intruder has a drop-down menu for selecting the attack type. So let's just flip back over to the positions and the 4 attack types. So let's go ahead and explore them briefly. Number 1 is going to be sniper. The sniper attack type is the default and most commonly used option. It cycles through the payloads, inserting one payload at a time into each position defined in the request. Battering ram. The battering ram attack type differs from sniper in that it sends all payloads simultaneously, each payload inserted into its respective position. Pitchfork. The pitchfork attack type enables the simultaneous testing of multiple positions with different payloads. It allows the tester to define multiple payload sets, each associated with a specific position in the request. Cluster bomb. The cluster bomb attack type combines the sniper and pitchfork approaches. It performs a sniper-like attack on each position, but simultaneously tests all payloads from each set. All right, each attack type has its advantages and is suitable for different testing scenarios. Understanding their differences helps us select the appropriate attack type based on the testing objectives. What attack type cycles through payloads, inserting one payload at a time? Well, that was sniper. That's the very first one. So sniper. And then let's continue on to task number 6, where we're going to talk about sniper. The sniper attack type is the default and most commonly used attack type in Burp Suite Intruder. It is particularly effective for single position attacks, such as password brute force or fuzzing the API endpoints. In a sniper attack, we provide a set of payloads, which can be a word list or a range of numbers, and Intruder inserts each payload into each defined position in the request. Let's refer to our example template from before. All right, and you got the positions down here that you want to target. In this example, we have 2 positions defined, username and password body parameters. In a sniper attack, Intruder takes each payload from the payload set and substitutes it into each defined position in turn. Assuming we have a word list with the words burp, suite, and Intruder would generate 6 requests. And this is what they look like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you got the request body, username equals burp, password equals exploited. And you got suit, and then same password, and then just rotates through them. Observe how Intruder starts with the first position, username, and substitutes each payload into it, then moves to the second position, password, and performs the same substitution with the payloads. The total number of requests made by Intruder Sniper can be calculated as requests equals number of words times number of positions. The sniper attack type is beneficial when you want to perform tests with a single position attacks, utilizing different payloads for each position. It allows for precise testing and analysis of different payload variations. If you were using Sniper to fuzz 3 parameters in a request with a word list containing 100 words, how many requests would Burp Suite need to send to complete the attack? All right, so 100 words, and you have 3 parameters there. So that would be 300, according to their formula at the top. How many sets of payloads will Sniper accept for conducting an attack? And it was 1 payload each. So let's go ahead and continue on to task number 7. And we're going to talk about battering ram. The battering ram attack type in Burp Suite Intruder differs from Sniper in that it places the same payload in every position simultaneously rather than submitting each payload into each position in turn. Let's refer back to our previous example template. All right, you got the username and password that you're going to be targeting here with the positions. Using the battering ram attack type with the same word list as before, Burp, Suite, and Intruder, it would look like the following here, and this is what it looks like here. Username Burp, password Burp, Suite, Intruder. As shown in the table, each payload from the word list is inserted into every position for each request made. In a battering ram attack, the same payload is thrown at every defined position simultaneously, providing a brute force attack. Approach to testing. The battering ram attack type is useful when we want to test the same payload against multiple positions at once without the need for sequential substitution. In the upcoming task, we will explore further configurations and settings related to Intruder's battering ram attack type and examine its applications in different scenarios. As a hypothetical question, you need to perform a battering ram intruder attack on the example request above. If you have a word list, 2 words in it, admin and guest, and the positions, and the request template look like the following. Okay. What would the body parameters of the first request that Burp sends? Hey everybody, just a quick little blurb here. As you can see here, most people that view my channel are not subscribers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button. It helps get me in the algorithm, helps spread the good word out there, helps bring more people and increase our glorious community here. All right, I'm all about helping out others. I know what it's like to come up in cybersecurity or even try to get into cybersecurity and not knowing where to look. I'm just having this channel up so I can help out other people. All right, that's all I got. The first request is going to look like this, admin, right? As explained up above, it's going to go through and look like this, right? Burp, suite, intruder, it says burp, suite, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and continue on to task number 8. We're going to talk about Pitchfork. The Pitchfork attack type in Burp Suite Intruder is similar to having multiple sniper attacks running simultaneously. While Sniper uses one payload set to test all positions simultaneously, Pitchfork utilizes one payload set per position up to a maximum of 20 and iterates through them all simultaneously. To better understand Pitchfork, let's us revisit our brute force example, but this time with 2 word lists. First one, the first word list contains usernames Joel, Harriet, and Alex. And the second one contains passwords Joel, Emma, and Skill. We can use these two lists to perform a Pitchfork attack on the login form. Each request made during the attack will look like this. So you got the first one here. It's going to be Joel. It's the first user, and then that password of Joel, and then you got Harriet, and then it's going to try that password of Emma, and then Alex is going to try the password of Skill. As shown in the table, Pitchfork takes the first item from each list and substitutes them in the request, one per position. It then repeats this process for the next request by taking the second item from each list and substituting it into the template. Intruder continues this iteration until one or all of the lists run out of items. It's important to note that Intruder stops testing as soon as one of the lists is complete. Therefore, in Pitchfork attacks, it is ideal for the payload sets to have the same length. If the lengths of the payload sets differ, Intruder will only make requests until the shorter list is exhausted and the remaining items and the longer list will not be tested. The Pitchfork attack type is especially useful when conducting credential stuffing attacks or when multiple positions require separate payload sets. It allows for simultaneous testing for multiple positions with different payloads. In the upcoming tasks, we will explore further configurations and settings related to Intruder's Pitchfork attack type and explore its applications in different scenarios, including credential stuffing attacks. What is the maximum number of payload sets we can load into Pitchfork mode? Well, it's set up above. It was 20. That's what it maxes out at right there, maximum 20. So let's go ahead and continue on to task number 9. We're going to talk about the cluster bomb attack type. And Burp Suite Intruder allows us to choose multiple payload sets, one per position up to a maximum of 20. Unlike Pitchfork, where all payload sets are tested simultaneously, Cluster Bomb iterates through each payload set individually, ensuring that every possible combination of payload is tested. To illustrate the cluster bomb attack type, let's use the same word list as before. You got Joel, Harriet, Alex, Joel, Emma, and Skill. All right, in this example, let's assume that we don't know which password belongs to which user. We have 3 users and 3 passwords, but the mappings are unknown. In this case, we can use a cluster bomb attack to try every combination of values. This request table for our username and password positions will look like the following. Get username Joel, password Joel, and Harriet, Joel, etc. See how it's cycling through each and every one of those now. And let's continue on. As shown in the table, the cluster bomb attack type iterates through every combination of the provided payload sets. It tests every possibility by substituting each value from each payload set into the corresponding position in the request. Cluster bomb attacks can generate a significant amount of traffic as it tests every combination. The number of requests made by a cluster bomb attack can be calculated by multiplying the number of lines in each payload set together. It's important to be cautious when using this attack type, especially when dealing with large payload sets. Additionally, when using Burp community and its intruder rate limiting, the execution of cluster bomb attack with a moderately sized payload set can take a significantly longer time. The cluster bomb attack type is particularly useful for credential brute forcing scenarios where the mapping between username and password is unknown. In the upcoming task, we will explore further configurations and settings related to Intruder's cluster bomb attack type and examine its applications in different scenarios. We have three payload sets. The first set contains 100 lines, the second contains 2 lines, and the third contains 30 lines. How many requests will Intruder make using the payload sets in a cluster bomb attack? This should be 6,000 requests. All right, you have to multiply all these together. 100 times 2, and then multiply that times 30, and you should get 6,000. So submit that, and let's continue on to task number 10 here. And we're going to get to practical examples. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy and paste this out of here. To put our theoretical knowledge into practice, we will attempt to gain access to the support portal located at the following URL. This portal follows a typical login structure, and upon inspecting its source code, we find that no protective measures have been implemented. And if you take a look at the source code here to see that information, given the absence of protective measures, we have multiple options to exploit this form, including a cluster bomb attack for brute forcing the credentials. However, we have an easier approach at our disposal. Approximately 3 months ago, Bastion Hosting fell victim to a cyber attack, compromising employee usernames, email addresses, and plain text passwords. Isn't that lovely? While the affected employees were instructed to change their passwords promptly, there's a possibility that some disregarded this advice. As we possess a list of known usernames, each accompanied by a corresponding password, we can leverage a credential stuffing attack. Instead of a straightforward brute force, this method provides advantageous and significantly quicker, especially when utilizing the rate-limited version of Intruder. To access the leaked credentials, download the file from the target machine using the following command in the attack box. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and capture this request, have it ready to go like so. Oh, I need to turn this back on. All right, now hit refresh. All right, so it seems to be working. And let's just forward this on like so, and then we'll just type in test to capture the criteria so we can get the actual positions. And there we go. That's exactly what we needed. And just gonna send this over to repeater, get it ready to go. Now let's go ahead and download this list here using the wget command. So go inside the terminal and paste this in. wget. Looks like it was saved. You can check it using ls. And you can see the file inside of here. Right there, zip. Tutorial to solve this example. Follow the steps to conduct a credential stuffing attack with the burp macros. Download and prepare the word list, which we already have prepared. And looks like we are in the home directory, right? Yeah, of root. So we can just navigate to it, or you can just unzip it via command line. But I'm just going to go do it this way here. So navigate. Let's just open up a browser here. Let's see. I don't want to do that. I want to go to, let's see. Where is this? Oh, places maybe. There we go. Home folder. There we go. Unzipped. All right. Now we have the zip file unzipped, and these are a list we're going to be using. All right, we're navigated to the support login, and we need to send this to Intruder, not Repeater. So send this to Intruder. I got my brain somewhere else today. Now we can go in and mark these as so. So add, and then highlight and add. All right. Now they want us to use the Pitchfork attack. So let's go ahead and select Pitchfork here. Move the Payloads subtab. You will find two payload sets. So let's go ahead to Payloads. All right. And you want us to use the username. So we can go to load and then navigate to the actual directory where they're stored. And since this is usernames, this is username.txt, and then flip this to number 2 here and do the same thing here with the passwords like so. It says click the start attack button. Let's go and do that. Yes, we know that's going to get throttled or rate limited. And let's continue on here. So once the attack starts, a new window will display the results of the request. However, as Burp sent 100 requests, we need to identify which ones were successful. Since the response status code are not differentiating successful and unsuccessful attempts, all are 302 redirects, we need to use the response length to distinguish them. Click on the header for or the header, the length column to sort the results by byte length. Look for the results or the request with the sorted length indicating a successful login attempt. 10. To confirm the successful login attempt, use the credentials from the request with the shorter response length to log in, and then type in the correct username and password combination. All right, so I will come back here as soon as it looks like it already found something. Looks like it might be this one here. Yeah, so let's just try this then. We can just straight up copy it out of here, probably. So let's go ahead and try that. This, and place this with a dot, and then a colon, and then the password is going to be let me in one. Okay, what happened here? Oh, that's where I messed up. There we go. Now let's continue to task number 11 here. Another practical challenge. Having gained access to the support system, we now have the opportunity to explore its functionalities and see what actions we can perform. Upon accessing the home interface, we are presented with a table displaying various tickets. Click on any of the rows redirects us to a page where we can view the complete ticket. By examining the URL structure, we observe that these pages are numbered in the following format. So it looks like ticket / then the number. The numbering system indicates that the tickets are assigned integer identifiers rather than complex and hard to guess IDs. This information is significant because it suggests two possible scenarios. Number one, access control. The endpoint may be properly configured to restrict access only to tickets assigned to our current user. In this case, we can only view tickets associated with their account. IDOR vulnerability. Alternatively, the endpoint may lack appropriate access controls, leading to a vulnerability known as insecure direct object reference IDOR. If this is the case, we could potentially exploit the system and read all existing tickets, regardless of the assigned user. To investigate further, we will utilize the Intruder tool to fuzz uh, this particular directory. Right, this is our endpoint. We're going to be targeting that number. This approach will help us determine whether the endpoint has been correctly configured or if an IDOR vulnerability exists or is present. Let's proceed with the fuzzing process. You have to capture the request while being logged in. Which attack type is best suited for this task? Well, since we're just targeting this, it should be the sniper. Configure an appropriate position and payload. The tickets are stored at values between 1 and 100. And then start the attack. You should find that at least 5 tickets will be returned with a static code of 200 indicating that they exist. Alright, so let's go ahead and capture this request. Now we need to log in, and to do that, we're going to go to this login portal, and we're going to use the username and password that we were able to discover in the previous task. So this m.rivera and then let me in one. We'll log in as this user. And as you go through and you'll see there's ticket IDs, tickets, etc. And this is one of the URLs we need to actually capture. So make sure that your settings are configured correctly. Proxy is configured to send traffic over to Burp. Go over to Burp, make sure proxy intercept is turned on, and then you will just refresh the page in order to capture the request and make sure we got everything here inside of proxy. And this is exactly what we needed. Now you're going to right click in here or you're going to use Control I to send this request over to Intruder, which I have already done. And you can take a look at what I have in here. I have the position set where it says get support ticket, and I want to target this number here. So I have that highlighted, and you click the add button to add a position there, and then go over to payload. Before we go to payloads, make sure the tag type is set to sniper. Then go over to payloads and change the payload type to numbers. And then under payload settings, make sure you have it set to 1 or from 1 to 100, and then step through it by 1. So it's going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way over to 100. And then you're going to click Start Attack. Now, like I said, I've already done this to save time, so I'm going to minimize this. And this is the results, right? So as you're going through here, you're going to look at this by like something like length or something, or status code. And you're going to go through and take a look at each and every one of these to try to find the flag. And you can use this little search function down here like I did. The flags, you're going to have this curly brace in here, so that's what I searched off of to find the flag. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this out of here and then paste it. And we'll continue on to task number 12 here, where it says extra mile challenge. In this extra mile exercise, we will tackle a more challenging variant of the credential stuffing attack we previously performed. However, this time, additional measures have been implemented to make brute forcing more difficult. If you are comfortable using burp macros, you can attempt this challenge without the instructions below. Otherwise, let's proceed with it step by step. So if you already know what you're doing, be sure to try to do this yourself. Otherwise, you can just come back, follow through the room instructions, or you just watch this video. But we're going to go through and step by step. So let's go ahead and capture this request for this admin portal looks like. Let me close out all of this stuff here. Discard. Go to back to burp and turn off intercept for now. There we go. And then flip back over to Firefox. And let's go to this admin portal. All right, so we need to capture the request for this portal. So go back to turn this proxy back on, intercept back on. Hit refresh so we can capture the details, and this is what it looks like. It says input type, hidden name, login token. All right, so they want us to take a look at the response. If we can just forward it and see if it shows up in here. Nope. Okay, let's try this. Okay, now we can see some information in here. And let's take a look. In this response, we noticed that alongside the username and password fields, there's now a session cookie as well as a CSRF cross-site request forgery token in the form as a hidden field. Refreshing the page reviews that both the session cookie and login token change with each request. This means that for every login attempt, we need to extract valid values for both the session cookie and login token. To accomplish this, we'll use burp macros to define a repeated set of actions macro to be executed before each request. This macro will extract unique values for the session cookie and login token, replacing them in every subsequent request of our attack. Okay, so we've already got this captured. Configure the positions the same way as you did for brute forcing the login. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. And this is not the one I needed. Let's just try this again. So go in, act like I'm logging in, capture this request, and there we go. Now let's go ahead and send this over to Intruder. This is what we need here. Okay, now that we have this information, let's go ahead and highlight our fields. We want to target here, add, and then add for the password as well. And they want us to use Pitchfork, apparently. Says now switch over to Payloads tab and load in the same username and password list. So let's go ahead and switch over to Payloads. And let's load the usernames. Okay, and then switch over to 2 and load the passwords. So there we go. Up to this point, we have configured Intruder in almost the same way as our previous credential stuffing attack. This is where things start to get more complicated with the username and password parameters handled. We now need to find a way to grab the ever-changing login token and session cookie. Unfortunately, recursive grep won't work here due to the redirect response, so we can't do this entirely within Intruder. We will need to build a macro. Macros allow us to perform the same set of actions repeatedly. In this case, we simply want to send a GET request to admin login. Fortunately, setting this up is a straightforward process. Switch over to the main settings tab in the top right of Burp. So main settings, which is this here, and click on the sessions category. Okay. Scroll down to the bottom of the page to macros. There we go. And the add button, like so. The menu that appears will show us our request history. If there isn't a GET request to the admin login, let's already navigate to this location in your browser, and you should see a suitable request appear in the list. So we need to find this one to admin, and let's just scroll through here. Admin login. So this looks like one we could use. Let's just use this 200 one. Okay. Select OK. And then with the request select, click OK. Finally, give the macro a suitable name, and then click OK to finish the process. We'll just leave it as macro1. So finish it, OK. There are a lot of steps here, comparatively speaking. So the following GIF is the entire process. So just follow this if you got lost somewhere. Step number 5, now that we have a macro defined, we need to set session handling rules that define how the macro should be used. Still in the sessions category of the main settings, scroll up to the sessions handling. So let's scroll up to session handling rules, okay. Click add new rule. A new window will pop up, details and scope. We are in the details by default. Okay, fill in the appropriate description, which I'm just going to leave it as rule 1. Fill in, okay, in the tool scope section, deselect every checkbox other than intruder. So let's like deselect all these here. And then it says in the URL scope section, choose use suite scope. This will set the macro to only operate on sites that we have chosen in the global scope. As we discussed in Burp Basics, if you have not set a global scope, keep in mind the custom scope option as default, and then add the following URL to the scope in the section. So let's just do it this way. Use a custom include in scope. So let's go ahead and click add here. There we go. All right, now we have to switch back over to the details tab and look at the rule actions. Click the add button. Okay, add here. Add button causes drop down, then run macros. Okay, run a macro like so. Select run a macro from list and this new window appears. Select the macro we created earlier. As it stands, the macro will now overwrite all the parameters in our intruder requests before we send them. This is great as it means that we will get the login tokens and session cookies added straight into our request. That said, we should restrict which parameters and cookies are being updated before we start our attack. And it says we need to select only the following parameters and headers. All right. And it wants to click the edit button, enter a new item, fill text box, type in login. So let's go ahead and type this in. Going to be login token. Select add, and then select close. Select update only the following cookies. All right, and click edit. Enter the session in the enter it here. Okay, and then click add and close. All right, then finally click OK. Now we should be set, and then watch this GIF if you're confused or lost. Now we're done. You should now have a macro defined that will substitute in the CSRF token in session cookie. All that's left to do is to switch back to Intruder and start the attack. Note, you should be getting 302 status code responses for every request attack. If you see 403, then your macro is not working properly. So let's go ahead and click OK here and switch back over to Intruder. And then they want us to start the attack, right? Sure, there's nothing else we need to do here. All right, so let's go ahead and start the attack. And looks like it's running properly. We're getting 302 errors. As the support login credential stuffing attack we carried out, the response codes here are the same. 302 redirects, once again, order your responses by length and find the valid credentials. Your results won't quite be as clear cut as last time. You see quite a few different response lengths. However, the response that indicates a successful login should still stand out as being significantly shorter. Use the credentials you just found to log in. You may need to refresh the page for entering the credentials, and then you'll use the username and password combination again. So let's go ahead and wait until this finishes, and we'll come back and find the answer. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now this didn't even finish all the way before I found this, but anyway, like it says, sort by length, like so, and you can look at the one that's really short here. This is going to be the 661 in my case, and the username password combination is going to be o.bennett, and then the password is going to be Bella1. So let's go ahead and log in using these credentials. If we navigate back over to Firefox here, and let's just go ahead and just disable this. Stop this and refresh the page like so. So let's go ahead and log in as this o.bennett and then Bella1 as the password. There we go. And admin home. All right. Profits for 2023. Let's continue on and close out this video with task number 13, conclusion. Congratulations on completing the Burp Suite Intruder Room. By now, you should have a solid understanding of how to effectively utilize Intruder to automate requests and perform various types of tasks. In the next room of the module, we will be looking at some of Burp Suite's other modules. So mark that's complete, and we're done here. Hopefully you guys found this video of value. Follow along with me to learn with me. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I post. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. Comment below on your thoughts and opinions. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you later.